Hello, Internet. Welcome to Weekly-ish D&D with Friends. This is maybe a new record. I think it's the third week in a row that I didn't forget to start the recording before we actually started playing. Haha. Um, so last time, you guys had gained the fifth word of power in regards to the Rod of Seven Parts, meaning that you now have five totally assembled sections of the rod. Um, and this was after kind of a hectic battle and some misunderstanding and arrests from the astral elves that had helped you sort of escape the clutches of the evil space clowns from Clown Space, and had subsequently imprisoned you in their place where they hold all of the ne'er-do-wells that they capture in their travels. After some deft maneuvering on your parts throughout the prison, some Great Escape-esque sort of action, you guys were able to kind of gain the, maybe if not the favor of the Astral Elves, at least your freedom from them, through defending against an attack by none other than Jarlaxle in his Brainstealer dragon form. So this was all well to do, especially the return of your ship and Reggie at the end, Ashnak, and you've departed this prison planet in, with a little bit of excessive speed, maybe just to get away from all of it. And you now are traveling with one additional crew member, or at least a hanger-on, Rowan, the old man that Arianth met in the prison, who helped her escape. And he, at the end of last session, had declared wildly declared that he was in fact actually Reggie's long-lost brother. So a few days have actually passed, and you've been traveling towards the sixth temple, and Reggie and Rowan have kind of kept to themselves quite a bit and seem to be like talking and catching up. Not so much being secretive, just sort of a lot of inside jokes, things like that. And Reggie is, although he is very upset that he doesn't specifically remember having a brother, he is quite convinced that Rowan is in fact his long-lost brother. And Rowan has come up with several stories that Reggie can confirm happened to him in his life. But there is perhaps maybe an air of suspicion amongst some of you, as Rowan is a little bit of a mad hat. He, at times, will climb up the mast and sit in the crow's nest, just kind of hanging out up there. At one point, you're pretty sure you saw him throwing handfuls of feathers into the wind, even though there is no wind in space. He's just kind of throwing feathers and they're falling down to the deck or just drifting off into space. Just doing a lot of strange things. Nearing the end of the second day, you do in fact reach what Reggie claims is the sixth temple. And, well, because, we're approaching the end of our season, and because fast-tracking sometimes is necessary in D&D, you managed to gain the sixth word of power with absolutely no animosity in this temple at all. It is just simply an abandoned temple. The same strange symbols of these Windukes of Aki, which are actually the Windukes of Akka, according to canon. I've been pronouncing it wrong for the last 6 weeks, sorry. You managed to procure this word, and you now feel that there are 6 completed parts of the rod. The word is... Ready for this? This is a shock, because I may or may not have spoiled it in the last episode. The sixth word is B.
What?
What?
Well,
You weren't expecting that? And off you go yet again in a slightly railroady finale towards the seventh temple. Is there anything you characters would like to accomplish in the day or 2 days of downtime that Reggie says it will take to get there?
Yeah, well, first I want to take a long rest.
Yes,
I'm-
absolutely. You guys have plenty of time for a long rest, resetting spell slots, rages, etc. And you guys are quite comfortable on the ship as well. Plenty of food. The crew is in good spirits. They just know that even though maybe they're not all clued into what your actual quest for this rod is, they just know their captain is happy, their first mate is happy, the managerial staff of the Serenity is having a reasonable couple of days, and that makes them happy. At one point, they even break out in a sea shanty. Space shanty? Sea space shanty. It sounds like Skrillex,
Yeah,
but acoustic. Figure that out.
unplugged.
Yeah, Skrillex Unplugged, exactly.
I keep forgetting about those spell gem things. I don't remember. Ariana, did you already put the spells in them?
Jen, I think you're muted.
Sorry, guys. I used some of them, but I definitely didn't use all of them. There's quite a few of them, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, you guys had like 80 of them or something. I don't remember what the total count was.
We
but-
bought out like a whole shop.
Well, I guess Maggie will just keep putting healing spells in unless anyone's got any other requests.
I'll probably use a few more to add some of my new spells.
I was going to say, I don't know if anyone has haste, but I would love that.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have that. Sorry.
Let me check.
I was going to say that would make me extra murdery.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, Maggie's definitely also, giving profuse thanks to Hestia and doing all sorts of cooking for everyone, which is her form of worship.
Absolutely. Rowan in particular is very interested when you cook things. He actually kind of begins observing your cooking methods and taking little notes and things, and asking lots of little questions like, how much nutmeg was that exactly? How many grams of nutmeg was that?
It's like a pinch.
Yeah, what's the coin weight on that?
Gotta measure with your heart, Rowan.
Hey, Tohan, would Expeditious Retreat help you? It gives you the ability to take a dash action as a bonus. The spell allows you to move at an incredible pace when you cast a spell, and then as a bonus action on each turn until it spends, you can take a dash action.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, can't hurt to have.
All right, so assume I use one of the second level ones for that and pass it to Tohan.
You guys are literally turning into the Justice League. Like Tohan's turning into the Flash. Vanadium.
I actually don't have haste, it seems.
I'm open to suggestions on spells.
We have level 8 gems, right?
yeah.
Yeah, all the way up to level. I think there was one level 9, two level 8.
Two level 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And because I'm a bad DM, I don't keep track of any of that stuff. So
I kept track of it. I got it all written in my.
thank God one of the PCs is a good note taker.
Yeah, Nick's practically the campaign treasurer. So
Yeah, seriously. I tried so hard at the beginning, and then I just wasn't very good at keeping up with the notes.
There's a lot.
Not gonna lie.
I was gonna say I never put in like the last one because I know I didn't know if you were gonna put that one in. The what is it? The silk rope, the brass mug, table, or electrum bird case, the tapestry, 250 gold.
Was that the stuff I got from?
I
There's
think, yeah, that was the stuff that was in Jarl Axel's cabin. I think.
Oh no, there was another thing of stuff that I got beyond Jar that was in another session.
That was inside the clown place.
Oh, okay. See, I can't keep track of all this shit. I don't know.
You posted it into your Facebook thing, so I know
Oh,
it's there to look through.
Then there's a
Yeah, I didn't know if you actually added that to your sheet or not.
I don't recall. I honestly don't think I did, but I know it's somewhere in the Facebook notes.
Just do like I always do on my character sheet. Got some stuff. Nick,
Yeah, I just have a thing called bric-a-brac where I just add more and more things that we have, and then their gold value.
nice. Yeah, I mean, if being adventurers doesn't work out, you guys can just open up a shop somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have that. What is it, like an $800 or $2 million gem or 800,000 a gold gem that you gave me to hold? That's in my stuff on my character sheet.
All the shinies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're pretty well set.
I love how in my brain too, just so you guys are aware, every gem in D&D is like a perfectly cut polyhedron of some sort, so they all just look like shiny,
yeah.
shiny math rocks.
Yeah, there was a 100,000 gold piece black opal, a 50,000
Oh, yes.
gold piece diamond, and a 10,000 gold piece peridot at one point.
I have the peridot.
Yeah, I have the opal.
Right.
I spread it around in case Tohan did something reckless and fell into a volcano or something.
And
Well,
then
the
I
other
have
thing is
all
you
the,
guys also have a giant ship you can store a lot of this stuff on.
Yeah,
too,
that's all in
right?
the vault, I think, right
Yeah.
now, right? Probably.
well,
That
a
could
bunch
totally
of
be something that Niv
Retcon.
and Vanadia have been working on this whole time with all the metallurgy supplies and things.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
mean-
that thing's impenetrable.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
probably have a
Impenetrable vault.
pretty good armor shop in the belly of the ship at this point.
Oh, definitely.
Like I can totally picture that, like a forge going in one of the rooms. Yeah, so if there isn't anything in particular that you guys are worried about for downtime, we can move to arriving at the temple.
Groovy.
All right. So yeah, if you guys can see on my screen, when you arrive in this new crystal sphere, when you finish your multi-day spell jamming session, you are instantly aware that this particular sphere is much different than the other 6 that you have visited. This one, instead of just being a dark space with a little bit of glow to the stars on the outside edge of the sphere, this one is illuminated and appears to have vast amounts of cosmic or solar winds that are traveling all around you. And the only sign of any sort of landmass is not far in front of you. And it is just a simple disk with a large square building floating on it. And you are able to very easily moor the ship to the edge of this disk on a very large rock that stands on one side of it. And as your crew lays lines, Reggie speaks up and says, "Well, Captain, this seems to be it. This is the final word of power."
we still don't. I say to Reggie, we still don't know the order, though, do we?
Oh, well, yes, that seems to be being taken care of. Each of these parts seems to have, with the activation of these words, be assembling itself within my old container. You see, I was a very clever design on Mordenkainen's part, as part of my deal that I made with him to become that which would finally reunite the rod. He built several failsafes in, such as this one, where no longer would we have to worry about the rod becoming scattered should the order should it be assembled in the incorrect order.
Interesting.
So, with the activation of this final word, it would seem my quest, well, it would be complete. Nothing would make me happier, Captain, than to accompany you on this final leg of your journey. Ashnak speaks up and he says, "Listen there, brass legs. You ain't the only one that's got some vested interest in these folks' safety. I've been here with them, well, through most of it. I feel like I know a couple of young druids that I think would like me to see it through for them since they can't be here. I too would like to accompany you.
I'd be happy to have both you, Reggie, and you, Ashbeck.
Very
I
good.
still,
Very good, ma'am. Oh, wonderful, Captain.
I excused myself for a moment ago. Try to commune with Mistral one last time, real quick.
So what is your actual like communion? Are you just kind of entering like your elven trance state for a moment, or?
Yeah, I'm just basically gonna try to meditate and like plead for some more guidance on what I should do. I'm here. I how do I fix the fabric? What guidance can you give me? And
We'll say after a few moments, you again can smell sort of the sweet smell of pine wood in the early spring, and a sort of sad warmth washes over you. And maybe not in direct speech, but in more emotion, you get the sense that the path has been laid and that the choice will become clear soon.
alrighty, I nod my head in thanks and accept that is what I'm gonna get.
See, does anybody want to do anything else before they leave the ship?
No one has hold monster, do they?
I don't.
Okay. I was thinking of throwing that on a gem. No, I think I'm ready to roll. Yeah, no. I just did some stretches and some deep lunges and stuff. Cracked the knuckles, all of that.
I can give you Maximilian's Earthen Grasp.
How's that work?
It's based on a strength saving throw.
Oh God. Okay.
You choose a 5-foot square of unoccupied space on the ground that you can see within range. A medium hand made from compacted soil rises up there and reaches for one creature you can see within 5 feet of it. The target must make a strength saving throw. On a fail save, the target takes 2d6 bludgeon damage and is restrained for the spell's duration.
Oh, it's their strength. Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, because the DC of it would probably be your strength score. Would be my assumption.
Yeah.
No, that it is.
Yeah,
okay, so yeah, it'd be a 29.
Yeah, they'd have to be a 29, or they'd be like basically restrained in there, and they'd have to keep doing a saving throw against a 29.
That would work for what I'm thinking of it for. I'm thinking of like if I needed to like throw cups on anyone or something like that, I can like, if it's a monster, you might need some help doing that. We've had some hard time doing that.
The range is 30 feet, and it's a 5-foot wide hand.
Yeah, I think normally it's based on the caster's spell save DC. Yeah. But in this case, Arianth, I would say that you've been studying your alchemical books, and you might be able to even find a way to sort of alter this gem just a little bit with the spell in it through maybe some alchemical process and make it so that it's based on Vanadia's actual strength. It's like harnessing her strength as part of the
Gotcha.
spell.
Yeah, it's like
maybe it's harmonized with like something in the belt or something.
Yeah, you take like a pluck of her hair when you're imbuing the spell, and you like put it in there so that it's something. Yeah. I'm sure we could figure something out that went that way.
Zach, I'm thinking there's like a stone in the belt, and like she's able to use magic to like harmonize the frequencies of the two stones. You know what I mean? So that they're tuned in with it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad I picked up the alchemy aspect. It's been handy.
Yeah, I've been trying really hard to find like a really good alchemy supplement for D&D, and I know they're out there. It's just picking the one that I like the best, basically, being like, this is cool. There are like some potion making things in the DM's guide, but they're pretty bare bones. That's more like, yeah, do stuff with potions. It's fun.
Yeah, have some fun.
I was kind of half eyeing alchemist for my new character for the next one, but I think
cool.
I might be going ranger.
Ooh,
Nice.
I played a Gloomstalker Ranger in another campaign, and he was pretty badass, I have to say.
yeah,
Rangers are cool.
Ranger would be a really cool one for Dragonlance as well because it's definitely a wilderness. There's a lot of wilderness stuff in it.
And I've chosen to be a Triton.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Very cool. It's the task at hand. So upon reaching the temple,
Sorry.
you begin approaching the door, and what you see before you, make sure you're centered on OBS because I am not centered with Tabletop Simulator. Looks something like this. It is a fairly nondescript building, although large-ish for the occupying the space of the disc. Your ship would be moored to this large rock on the west end of the map here. I don't know if that's coming across on the left side of your guys' screen. I'm hoping.
I see the rock. I don't see the
Yep.
ship.
Don't see the
Well,
ship.
I didn't put the ship in.
Yeah.
Got it.
You got
Yeah.
use your imagination. It's
Yeah.
over there.
Oh no, I see it. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
And there are just a few small things out here. There's a few trees outside. There is a small pond with another large rock kind of poking up out of it. Although you wonder kind of where, like, how deep this pond is, because it's a disc. It's not very thick. And two, you wonder kind of like, how did this get here? And it's very oddly situated. It's nothing like anything you have seen being in normal realm space or in the crystal spheres. It's almost as if you have entered some sort of pocket dimension.
Is that a giant chest that's next to us?
Yeah, but don't worry about that right now. That giant chest labeled surprises. So as you approach, also don't worry about the doors that are from Photobucket. That's just where they bought them. As you approach, the doors open, and you begin to enter the temple. Now inside, hopefully I can get all you guys in here in an orderly fashion. Yeah, semi-orderly. We'll go with that. Anyway, you're all in there. As you enter into this sacred domain of the Winddukes, you are greeted by several things. The first is as you enter, on this pillar in the very front, right in front of the doors, is a very large plaque. Stop zooming. I'm trying to click on things. I love dual screens, but they don't always work great when it comes to mouse control. Where is it? Plunk. And here it is. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. It is a large shield-like inscription with a massive lightning bolt going through a spider. And it says, Ruat Coelium Fiat Justilia Esse Lex Rex. And beneath it, in common, it says, Though chaos reign, let justice be done. Behold, law is king. I feel like that's a lot of words for less words than are up here, but that's okay. That's what it says in the book. Any Latin scholars out there, please correct me. Thanks. I'm sure that there's at least one Latin scholar in our 12 viewers, right? God.
I took a year in high school, so
I don't even think they offered it at our school.
They definitely didn't.
Now,
I don't think I went to any school that offered Latin.
As you enter these sacred chambers, there are a series of candles in the back, and upon your entry, they all ignite as though some mysterious force is willing them to do so. And their flame actually glows a soft, pale blue. It's very comforting and very very like warming, and you notice that even though there is no observable wind inside the temple, they flicker and dance as though someone were waving a fan sort of near them, casting these kind of light shadows all over the place. As you begin to kind of examine the surroundings, you are greeted by a voice. And this voice calls out in a strong, bold voice. Welcome, travelers. I see that my time guarding the final word is coming to an end. And from the rear of the temple steps forth a knight.
He says, just in case, there's no need to guard from us.
Yeah, the knight steps up onto this kind of dais here and trips, falls down, dusts himself off, and he observes...
That card's still up. We can't really
Yeah, I
see
was
it.
just say, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Back over here. So he steps forward, and he is, on either side of him is a large statue. The statue sort of, they look like this. These large humanoid figures that are maybe like 8 feet tall or so, and the knight himself is maybe 7 feet tall. And as he approaches, you can actually tell he is old. Like, he looks extremely old, even in this powerful form of his, like, that his body has taken. Reggie leans over his giant mechanical hulking form, also about 8 feet tall. After nodding solemnly at the knight, he leans over to Arianth and states, loud enough for all of you to hear, but kind of stating to her, he says, "That is the Wind Duke of Akka." And the knight says, "Correction, good sir. I am the last Wind Duke of Akka. The protector of the final word. The activation word of the Rod of 7 Parts." And he sort of looks down at the your staff, Arianth, and he clearly, like, is aware that the Rod of 7 Parts is in his presence. And he approaches slowly, and he looks at all of you, and he says, "I can tell you have been through great tribulation and a long journey to get here. I will hear your story, and we will feast. But first, I must tell you a story, so that you understand the gravitas of the choice you are about to make." He says, long ago, long before elves or humans, long before the dwarves, the orcs, any creature that you would know and understand, we, the Vati, although you would know us as the Wind Dukes, we sought order in all things. We wished to make sense out of the darkness and chaos that the universe was. And while we were a force for law and order, the Queen of Chaos, the only name she has ever been given, was our staunchest enemy. Directly opposed to everything we stood for, she wanted anarchy. She wanted to spread malice and anger throughout the land. Utter chaos. She did so with her army of spiderlings and her general, Miska, the wolf spider. Lightning crashes outside, and somewhere's a church organ plays some really discordant harmony. And he looks over his shoulder. In all these years, I've never figured out where that organ music is coming from. He looks down at you again and says, the queen and her general, Miska, and he kind of rolls his eyes. You know who. They ran rampant across the universe. We battled them on every planet that was under our protection. They were not able to conquer us, but we could never truly eliminate them. For every time that we would destroy Miska, he would simply rise again in an even more terrifying form. And as he's speaking, in front of him begins to kind of coalesce in this very subtle wind what appears to be sort of a three-dimensional charcoal drawing almost. And he begins to, as he's telling you this, the images kind of come up of, when he's speaking of the Queen of Chaos, a sort of almost unimaginable creature. I don't know if any of you as people are familiar with any of like the Cthulhu mythos of sort of the eldritch horror idea, but essentially all you really catch are glimpses of like eyeballs, tentacles, perhaps like a large face of some sort. But it is absolutely terrifying, just the concept of this creature, this Queen of Chaos. She is a force so unimaginable that she doesn't really have a parallel in the universe that you know. You just know that even like looking at her gives you like, it's like people with trypophobia like can't stand looking at like small holes. That's like the uneasy feeling that you get. It's really uncomfortable. And as he's describing Miska, I don't have to do this. No, I don't have to do the thunder that time. This is third person narration. You see this same charcoal kind of figure spin up into something you recognize sort of. It's similar to what you would consider a drider, but he looms at 20 feet tall, maybe. In the scene, he's towering over several of the knights that are the members of the Wind Dukes, and thrashing through their number. And he appears as a large kind of humanoid torso on a gigantic spider body with the head of a humanoid head. Perhaps not human entirely, some crazy features to it, some scarring and distortions, but also on either side of his human head there is the head of what you could describe loosely as a wolf. So this massive kind of ungodly creature is just tearing through these ranks of these charcoal soldiers. And the knight continues. He says, my name is Arkest. I have been tasked not only with protecting this part of the rod, but knowing full well that one day someone would reunite the other 6 parts and find their way here. It will be my job to discern your intentions with the rod, and to judge whether that use of the rod will be deemed lawful and orderly.
Miska.
He says, don't do that. I hate that. Miska, Miska, Miska.
Miska!
I really wish I had preloaded Thunder soundtrack.
I ask him if do you have more? Is there more to the story you wish to tell me, or did you wish to hear my story now?
He says, well, long ago, when we battled Miska, the rod was created as a way to prevent him from coming back. It was the only weapon that anyone had ever created that could permanently banish Miska to a faraway plane where he would be locked forever. Or at least, we thought so. You see, when the rod was used in battle against Miska, now the thunder is just like, it's real quick. When it was used against him, it was shattered into 7 pieces, as I'm sure you well know. When this happened, the queen put a great curse on the rod. And she said, whoever reunites all 7 parts of the Rod of Law, as we used to call it back in the day, in the hood, it was our nickname for it. When someone reunites this rod finally, she said, my lover and my general shall be reborn again. Before she retreated into the depths of the abyss, where it is said she gave birth to many demons. When he says this, you hear a voice, a dark, gurgly voice, that says, it is true, old one. She did give birth to many of us. And on the left side of the room, a swirl of smoke begins to kind of form. But before it coalesces into any sort of physical manifestation, another, more familiar voice says, will you quit being so dramatic? And from one of her portals steps Umbra.
Nice.
Yeah.
Umbra,
Do we know her?
she steps out over here on the right side. If that loads properly, cool. She now, last that you saw Umbra, she had kind of bamfed away right before the incident with the Astral Elves. She appears not by herself, but also with good old Inamingle, or Innie, as she likes to refer to him, her official Dick Book Demon. There it is. There's the book. And not only does she appear with Inamingle, who sort of is, he comes out on guard, like he is clearly tense and looking around. She says to the voice in the room that begins to chuckle, no appreciation for theatrics, I see. The cloud poofs with a great flame, and standing before you is a very large, very not great for you guys looking horned demon lord. He says, well met, I suppose, travelers. My name is Orcus. And as he says it, the room rattles with the power of his voice. And Umbra says, I told you.
Is there a heavy metal guitar screech at the same time?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, like yeah.
80s style.
Oh, absolutely. It's straight out of a Dio video. She says, I told you, you don't need to be so dramatic. And she begins to make her way down to where you all stand. She looks over to her right, to the knight. She nods, a respectful nod. And then she looks for a moment at the Demon Lord Orcus, or at least this manifestation of him, and she says, well, I'm glad you showed up. Now we are only waiting for one other party to begin our decision-making process. Oh, Smell that? It smells like brimstone. I believe he's here now. And behind her, stepping out of the same portal that she came out of, is another large horned figure. This one bearing a pentagram-topped staff, long red robes, and has just this red complexion that you instantly recognize from tales from your time in Avernus as none other than Asmodeus, the demon or devil prince of the Nine Hells.
Asmodeus.
Yeah, Asmodeus. Yes. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Somebody needed to make that
Falco plays.
So you find yourself standing in the midst of two of the most powerful evil beings in all the multiverse. Of course, Asmodeus turns to the portal and he says, "Well, come on then, Zariel. You said you wished to be a part of this discussion." And Zariel, whom you have had many encounters with now, at least a few, she comes flapping wildly out of the portal. She is in her celestial form, the form that she took after absconding from Asmodeus's service. And Orcus says, "Oh, I see you brought some servant along with you, eh? I have servants too." And he snaps his fingers, and several, we'll say 4. That sounds like a nice round number. Several of these abyssal wretches, these just demonic sort of humanoid lurker things, appear around his feet. He says, "Yes, look, you only have 1, I have 4. And he immediately reaches down, snatches one up, and bites its head off and goes, "Ha ha ha ha!" Umbra just rolls her eyes. She looks at all of you and says, "Ah, my dear friends, I know that you have fought long and hard to get to this very point, but I come bearing terrible news. You are now faced with an impossible decision." Arquest kind of nods solemnly and he says, "Yes, it was foreseen. A choice that is not a choice, but a burden." He says, "First, I had hoped to have some dinner, but I suppose we should probably get on with the ritual." And he pulls from his armor a large scroll and opens it and begins reading in a language that none of you really seem to quite grasp. But as he does, the room begins to kind of swirl with this light, this blue light throughout it. And both Orcus and Asmodeus look incredibly uncomfortable. Like, they look like a Hindu in like a Catholic service. They're just very like, "Ugh, what is this? Is weird," you know. They don't like it. Orcus is still munching absent-mindedly on one of his wretches. And Umbra says, "Yes, it's actually quite simple. You see, Arquest here, I've had the pleasure of meeting him. Not before, but, well, in the future. I've been all about the multiverse, all about time and space, and unfortunately, this moment in time, this pivotal moment, the entire fate of the universe, of all universes, hangs in the balance. You," and she points at Arianth, "my dear Arianth, you are the key. You must make this choice, although I advise you highly to take your friends advice into consideration, as the four of you have seen more of this than any other living being. She says, these two have come to plead their case to you, as I have talked with both of them, attempting to correct the wrongs that Vecna has wrought upon the universe, attempting to repair the damage to the weave myself. But it is no avail. You, the one who has collected the rod, must make the choice. And Arkest stops speaking now, rolls the scroll back up, and he says, a choice you do indeed have to make. You may
What is my choice?
You may either complete the rod or not. It is really both that simple and that complicated. He says, you see, if you complete the rod, you will have the power to instantly correct all the perversions of law and order that Vecna's forces spreading throughout the universe have caused. But, as the curse of the Queen of Chaos is stated, her and her general, and Orcus goes, Miska? Yes, Miska. They will return. And I must say, I believe the two of them to be a much larger threat to the well-being of the multiverse than Vecna could ever actually be. Or you may not complete the rod. You may surrender it to myself, and I will destroy it, ensuring that the Queen and her general will never be seen again in all the planes. Now at this point, Asmodeus speaks up, and he says, yes, tell her the rest, though. Tell her what will happen.
What of Vecna?
Umbra pipes in and says, Vecna's forces will spread like wildfire, turning every one of the crystal spheres into an area he wants to name Death Space. Every aspect of the universe will become not even a war zone, it will become an extermination of life as we know it.
How is this preferable, in your view, to the return of the Chaos Queen and her general? Mishka?
Arkest the Winduke looks down and says, I have heard of this Vecna, and though he pollutes the spheres like a bad infection, I believe that he can be defeated. Now, it will potentially take lifetimes to do so, but I think that where there is life, there is law, and there is order, and there is a nature to things. And Vecna cannot maintain his rule of undeath forever. Not to say that with the rod completed, that the Queen and her general might not be defeated. I cannot tell you what the outcome will be in either case, only what the outcome of you deciding to either complete the rod or destroy it will be.
Umbra, you have traveled throughout the multiverse, near and far throughout time. What are your thoughts on this right now?
She says, well, that's a very good question. And that's what these two are doing here. And she sort of waves absent-mindedly at Orcus and Asmodeus, who are mean-mugging each other from across the room. And Orcus is, like, trying to do cool demon shit. He's, like, cutting like his skin open and being all gross. And Asmodeus is like kind of harumphing, and he's examining a book that says like demonic law and like pacts with the devil, things like that on the cover. She says, "These two, although evil they may be, have the purest view of what these two options really present to you. And rather than try and play devil's advocate," and she sort of winks when she says it, and Asmodeus just groans.
Ernest snickers.
I thought maybe you'd like to hear these things from the horse's mouth." She says,
Please,
Go.
I can use all the help I can get.
Yeah. So Umbra tells you, she says, "Whatever your choice, whatever you decide, you and your friends, I will guarantee these two will abide by it. No harm shall come to you this day from either this foul demon of the abyss," and Orcus looks very pleased when she calls him that, "or this conniving devil of the Nine Hells." And Asmodeus kind of puffs his chest out a little bit, like, "Yeah, I am very conniving." Reggie looks at you and says, Miss Arianthe, surely you can't be questioning this. You've quested long and hard to complete the rod. You must see it through to the end. Just think, you could instantly correct the appearance of Vecna throughout time. You could stop him from
Calm
occupying
down,
the sigil."
Reggie. I'm not saying I'm not going to complete the mission. I just want to hear all the sides of every angle to make the best decision I can. And it's not just me it affects, it's everyone. I want everybody to have their say. Can't you understand that, Reggie? This is a very tough decision to take onto my shoulders.
Before Reggie can really say anything else, Umbra says, "Be at peace, my elderly metal friend. You will have your say. And you are a part of this as well." And Reggie seems maybe a bit mollified by that, but you can tell he is like fucking hyper tense right now. He does not like the idea that maybe you have to just destroy the rod without completing it. Remember, this has been a quest for him, literally even as an inanimate object, for like a few hundred years now. So he's pretty sold on the idea of collecting this thing.
Aerith understands completely, but she understands the gravity of the situation and her decision, and just wants to hear everybody out before she does anything.
Umbra looks at you and says, "Well, whose side of the story do you think you'd like to hear first?" Orcus goes, "Ooh, me!"
I nod to the demon.
Asmodeus sort of shrugs. Take your time. She's clearly saving the best for last." Orcus flips Asmodeus off. How crude. Orcus looks down at you and he says, "Behold, puny mortal, the power that is Orcus, Demon Prince." And then he sort of looks around and he's like, "Are you not cowed by my wonder?" Umbra says, "Get on with it." And he's like, "Okay." And he sort of nods his head and he says, "I may be evil, as you call me, but the things that I have seen working with Vecna's army put myself even at unease, me and the other demon lords. We have seen what he intends to do. He wishes to know the final secret, the ultimate lie, that which no living or undead being should have access to. He is worse than death, worse than undeath. I believe you should assemble the rod. Use the rod to destroy Vecna, to destroy all that he has created. You can reset it. You can start it over. You can wipe him off the face of the universe as though he never was. That is the power that the rod possesses. He is a creature of disorder and chaos, as am I. But I know my place. I occupy the abyss. I wage war on the devils of the nine hells. Asmodeus at this point's like, you call that war? Mm-hmm. If you can reunite all the parts of the rod, I would have something to oppose. You would become a god of order, a god of law. And what good is a demon if all the universe is already in chaos? I need foes, and with Vecna in charge of the universe, I shall not only have no foes, I shall have no purpose. Please, I can offer you power, the ability to end your enemies with great prejudice. And I can ally myself against Vecna's forces with you until you are able to destroy him completely. At which point, we will become the most bitter of enemies. Wouldn't you like that?
But what of the queen and her spider? What would you stand with me against them?
Oh, no. She's really kind of my jam. After Vecna's gone, all bets are off. We will fuck your shit up.
Thank you for your perspective. I too am a child of chaos, but I have no wish to destroy.
Amateur.
I turn to the devil.
Yeah, Asmodeus sort of looks at Umbra, looks at you, rolls his eyes, and he's like, well, you can't trust a demon at all, can you? But at least you can, trust the devil you know, to be the devil you know. He sort of smiles and twirls
Aeronith rolls her eyes.
His fancy mustache. Oh,
I get it, because he's the devil.
Nice.
There we go. Now you guys have better pictures. So we got Asmodeus over here on the left and Orcus over here on the right.
Nice.
And yeah, as the devil waits for kind of your nod of approval to begin his story, he reaches into his robes and throws a hand up, and there is a sparkly flash of fiery brimstone. The sort of smell fills the air. He says, I also have been referred to as evil by your people and people on other planets for many, many millennia. But I and all my devils under my service, we have great affinity for law. We believe that law must be maintained above all else, for without rules, what sense is there in playing games such as we do?
Law's overrated.
See. Said only by the most chaotic of creatures that law is a thing to be ignored, but without those laws, would you be chaotic in general? Or would you just be you? If you couldn't break the laws...
That's the true nature of chaos.
There is no law in true chaos.
But there is no chaos without laws to defy. There must be rules to be broken for chaos to exist. Such is the way that the actions of the queen and the rod interacting exist. She could not have put such a powerful curse on an object such as that if they were not infinitely intertwined. And he says, now, I am no friend of Orcus, but I do agree with him on one thing. Vecna must be stopped. However, releasing a force such as the Queen, it would end everything I have strived to do in the Nine Hells, to bar the gate to the abyss. It would open it to every world, and every demon would have access at any time to any plane, any portal, any world, any individual. If she were brought forth, there is no telling what could happen next. And therefore I think you should destroy the rod. Counterintuitive though it may seem, me being a creature of law, I would love to get my hands on such a powerful artifact. But I cannot bear witness to the resurgence of a force of pure chaos such as the Queen. I can offer you something in exchange for this as well, without becoming your enemy. We could be friends, good friends. I could owe you favors.
Don't count on it.
I could grant you knowledge how to defeat your undead foes.
Hold on. Maybe he has a staff of 8 parts.
Thank you for your perspective.
So Umbra turns and looks at you and she says, well, I guess that's the gist of it. You've got a choice to make, miss. Would you defeat your foes, reset all the evil, all the chaotic things that have been done in his name, wipe his scourge from the universe forever, at the threat of a greater foe? Or would
I
you...
turn to what's the other angel demon's name? Sorry.
Orcus.
Zariel?
I turn to Zariel. Zariel, what are your thoughts on this?
She says, I have my trepidation about either scenario, to be honest. But, in lieu of a discussion with the Celestials, and all the archangels of all the realms, we have decided that in this particular case, we must lay aside our differences with the devils as creatures of order. We think that the rod must not fall into the wrong hands. We think that it should be destroyed. We too can offer you something. We can offer you the good graces and protection of the forces of Mount Celestia. A most powerful boon. I am not happy to work with this thing again, but compared to that thing over there, and she points to Orcus, and Orcus grins like ear to ear, and it's really awful. You don't want to see what Orcus grinning looks like. She says, I think that your best course of action would be to destroy the rod.
I say thank you for your input. I motion to Umbra to come over, and I turn to everyone that I've been traveling with all this time, and motion to Reggie and Ashnak, and say, all right, guys, it's time for us to have a powwow and come to a decision.
Lady Aaron, you heard what they said. If you don't build that rod, Vecna's going to destroy the whole universe.
I'm definitely leaning towards you. I just want to get everybody's input here.
What about your goddess, Maggie? Does she have any input?
Maggie's looking for a something she can use as a altar?
Um,
Or anything cozy, really?
yeah, I mean, like the little area with the candles in it is kind of nice.
Yeah, so she'll make her way over there and do her kind of sacrificial cooking and pray for guidance from
Okay.
Hestia.
As you make your way, several of the abyssal wretches snap and snarl at you, and Orcus kicks one of them really hard in the hip and sends him flying across the room. Ah! I told you we're under strict orders. There will be none of that. Ah! Go lay down.
I turn to the whole room and I say, "Can any of you offer any insight on how Vecna might be stopped? Because without this rod, it seems there's no hope."
Ashnak looks at you, cocks his gun just like a pump shotgun style fucking laser rifle or something that he's got. I don't know what he's got now. Nobody knows what fucking crazy shit the Orc Marines build in their spare time. He's like, I got a goddamn plan. We're gonna go full FSU, Orc Marine style. Let's fuck shit up. You give the word, Miss Arianth, I will plug all these assholes right now.
Thank you, Ashnak, but save it for either the Spider Queen or the Queen of Chaos or Vecna when we get to it. I'm leaning towards Spider Queen right now.
Yes, ma'am.
John tries to cock his axe.
Reggie,
Ashnak's like, hang on, buddy, I got you, and just walks over and attaches something to it. Then now it goes, chick. Does nothing, but just makes a cool cocking noise.
it kind of seems like our choice here is absolutely no real hope or a small amount of hope, but a shitload of fighting ahead of us.
Maggie kneels and asks Hestia for guidance.
All right. Roll me a. Wait. Roll me just a straight D20 with add your wisdom modifier to it. I want to see how in tune you are with Hestia right now.
Wisdom modifier is +5, so 21.
Okay. So Hestia is, you can feel the presence of your deity. You can feel the warmth of these candles. You can feel the familiar kind of warming flame of a hearth, even though there is not a hearth in the room. And you get an overwhelming sense of trust that no matter what decision your friend makes, you know you will be there by her side, and that you know that as long as you are all together, nothing will stop you from battling that evil, whichever evil it may be.
Maggie smiles and gives thanks. She turns around and looks at especially the demon and the devil, but looks at everyone and says, "In the end, good will prevail, and Celestia will be with us one way or another." Meddling with the weave is what's gotten us into this in the first place, and creating a new source of power for one of these to take will not get us there. So Maggie's leaning towards not creating the rod.
If robots can look sad, Reggie looks sad when you say this.
I'm sure Maggie, as a grandmother, notices this and says, "Maybe the real rod was the adventures we had all along."
And then Venadia says, "That's what she said."
Miska.
Tohan, what are you thinking?
I would love to put an axe in Vecna's face personally, honestly.
I too think we should destroy the rod. Sorry, big guy. Fuck it, let's kill Vecna. Ourselves.
The knight, Arcest. His name is David Arcest. You notice that he happens to be wearing a belt that just on the front of it says WCW. Deep cuts from the 90s. So he looks at you and he says, "It sounds as though you have come to a decision then." If you wish for me to destroy the rod, simply hand it to me, and I will do so. Orcus
Maggie
goes, you
her
gotta
eyes.
be fucking kidding me, this is bullshit. Asmodeus in the corner is just smiling slyly, and Zariel is looking noticeably, like, not happy, but solemn. Like, this is what needs to be done, is the look on her face. And Venadia again turns and says, "I will stand by you no matter what your choice."
Venadia?
Umbra?
I'm sorry, Umbra. I don't know why I said Venadia.
For the record, I will. But...
I swear, I'm not taking away your player agency. I'm sorry.
Aranith is thoroughly torn being a child of chaos after going through this for so long. But she kind of nods to her quest mates and looks sadly at Reggie and says, "I can't go against what everyone in my party wishes, and the idea of wielding a rod of law, even though I wish to quickly fix everything, is not my path in life as a child of chaos. If everyone in my party had chose to go ahead and let's take our chance with the queen, then I would go forward with it. But if everybody is set on going against Vecna without the rod, then I will give up the rod to be destroyed. If that's what everybody wants."
I put my hand on your shoulder and I say, "You're doing the right thing, Lady Aranth."
Maggie gives Asmodeus a hard look and says, what is this deal that you're talking about?"
He says, I know something you don't know. I know where Vecna's phylactery lies." For those of you unfamiliar with the term phylactery, think Horcrux.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's D&D did it first.
Well, let's see here. Before I hand over this rod, let's talk.
Yeah,
Because-
okay, lawyer boy, let's come on out with it.
He says, well, surely this knowledge would benefit you greatly, as well as myself, so I could almost consider this a freebie. However,
Hey, you know what, Aaron? I think we should just build the rod, you know? Let's just build the rod.
wait. Let me consult the bylaws of devilish contracts. I have a page here on Infernal Pacts that clearly states that, yes, here it is. In times of great duress, a boon may be offered to a non-devil in lack of exchange of soul or worth. Yes, something, yes. And he's sort of muttering over the rest of the thing, and he's like, yes. I'm sure that with a simple, maybe a 500-year lease on your soul. After 500 more years, I get your soul.
Absolutely not. If you want this rod destroyed, you better just hand over that information right now, because we need some hope in destroying Vecna without taking lifetimes.
Oh, I thought he wanted the rod.
He actually is for having the rod destroyed, although he did say he would love to have such a powerful item. Orcus is like, ha! Seems like they're more on my side now, loser. Asmodeus is clearly irritated now, and he's like, oh, bugger off, twat. I don't know why Asmodeus is British. He's...
Look, Asmodeus, I'm giving up a lot of power here in order to do what everybody seems to think is the right thing. So if you want me to lean towards law or your side of law when I am a child of chaos, you better give me something to make it worth my while.
He says, what do you think the cost to your law is of allowing this chaos to reign?
As well, you see, if you were to summon the queen by assembling the rod, well, I think my best chance to survive the situation would simply be to take the rod by force at that point. As you have said, you are a child of
Vanadia
chaos.
bursts out laughing.
He sort of stops for a second and looks up and down at Vanadia, and he's like, You...
I start crackling with power, and I say, you can try.
He says, yes, and try I most certainly would if that was what it came down to, but none of us want that, do we? Orcus goes, I do! Ha 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 ha!
I'm always down to rumble.
Orcus picks up one of his two remaining abyssal wretches and throws it across the room towards Asmodeus, who just sort of steps out of the way calmly, and the thing splats off the wall, and he's like, trying to lower me into a food fight, I see.
I turn to Asmodeus and in my most persuasive manner, I say, look, we are wasting time. Every moment that we sit here in indecision, and more destruction happens. Give me the location of the Vecna, and the rod will be destroyed. And I'll roll to persuade if I have to.
Roll me a persuasion check. DC is 29.
Oof.
Peggy puts her hand on Ariane's shoulder to give her guidance, and also corrects the wording that we're looking for Vecna's phylactery.
Yeah, sorry. You know
I
what?
knew what you meant.
Or puts on her lawyer glasses.
Oh yeah, you get your Acubus out.
Yeah, she's got
Right.
the abacus out. You know,
Ab-
you guys are making a deal. I'll give you advantage on it. It's a hell of a roll to make. And this is like major plot contention here, so I'm...
I just got 29.
Oh,
Get
no.
outta here.
Wow.
Get out of here.
I
Crit.
shit you not.
Holy shit.
rolled a
That's
And that's without the
crazy.
D4, so
Crit plus 9.
Wow.
You nattied that shit.
Wow, I was not expecting that. I literally made it as hard as it could possibly be without being an auto fail, and you
Wow.
got it.
Wow.
Asmodeus looks and he goes, "You know what? Fuck it. It's on Oworth. It's under Castle Greyhawk."
Thank you.
All right, melt it.
Inimingle's jaw drops. He just looks and he's like, he's looking at Asmodeus, looking at you, looking at Orcus, looking at Asmodeus, looks back at Zariel. Zariel shrugs. Umbra just laughs. Only you, dear Arianth, only you could outwit the master of devilish wits. And Asmodeus goes, "Oh, Umbra, you're too sweet."
I just smile a Mona Lisa smile.
Let's melt that shit down.
Asmodeus snaps his fingers, and before you appears a piece of paper. It says, "I, Arianth, captain of the Serenity, blah blah blah, hereby do agree that Vecna will give me this information free of charge." You read through it, and it seems like he's literally just agreeing to tell you that this, as long as you destroy the rod.
All right. Just in case, I ask Maggie to use her.
Didn't you already tell us? Like, why the fuck do we want to sign this?
Yeah.
Yeah, true to that.
I'm not gonna forget.
He's like, "Look, if I don't bring this
Send to the
back,
castle.
if I don't bring this back, my lawyers will be nagging me all day."
That sounds really terrible for you.
Yeah, it sounds like a you problem, buddy.
Have you ever met a devil lawyer? They're really obnoxious. Trust me, I made them that way.
Arianth, can I see that paper for a second?
I pass it over to her.
I produce flame in my hands and it disincinerates.
You produce flame, and the flame hits the paper, and it just continues to be on fire.
Nice, yeah.
Because, it's from hell. Ha! Fireproof paper! Ha!
All right, I rip it.
Damn! I didn't think of that.
All right. Well, I turn to Reggie and I say, "I am so sorry that it's come to this, but at least you can say that you got to the very end."
Reggie doesn't speak. He just hangs his head low. He doesn't say a word. You're pretty sure that if he's not crying, then the oil is leaking from his face.
A tear slides down Erin's cheek as well. She goes and reaches up as high as she can and tries and brings his head down and gives his big metal head a kiss on his forehead.
When he looks up, he looks into your eyes, and even though this is the visage of a clockwork titan, this large, like, brass, metallic, coppery robot monster thing, you feel like this is the most human look anyone has ever given you. He is absolutely heartbroken right now. He says, "You will do what you must. I understand, Captain Arianth."
I'm so sorry, Reggie. All right, well,
Arkest kind of looks at you, and he's like, "Your decision has been made, then, in full view of the court of the Dukes of the Wind Dukes of Akka. I hereby proclaim your possession of the Rod of Seven Parts unnecessary." And he holds his hand out, and the rod sort of pulls out of your grasp. And as it does so, the outer casing, the staff that you have been carrying now for many months, it literally just shatters, and the parts of the rod that are assembled and the one that is not all fly up, and Arkest is holding one in each hand. And he says, "With that, I will now end any possibility of the Queen of Chaos, or Miska, returning to this realm." And he closes his eyes brings the two parts close together, and he says, "Though chaos reigns, let justice be done." And as he says this, the rod absolutely ignites the room in light. This is like white hot light. Nobody can see for a full 5 seconds. When the rod, or when the light fades, the knight, the rod, are both gone. Oh, that was a really ineffective flick. Asmodeus says, "Well, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, but I have things to tend to now. You, be sure to put that information that I gave you to good use, and, well, I wish you well, travelers. I genuinely do."
He gets the creeps.
Yeah, like
Aaronith just turns and nods.
The devil
I
wishing
just
you
go.
good luck.
I just go, okay.
Come, Zariel, let us do lunch before we retire to our respective planes. I heard there's a great theater downtown. It's showing a movie. What was the name of that? It's one of the new talkies with where they speak during the film. Oh yes, Perish Contestedly. And she says, "Oh, the Christmas movie?" And he goes, "It's not a Christmas movie." And with that, they exit through the portal.
Nice.
Orcus picks up the final abyssal wretch, and he's munching on this thing, which is screaming like he's eating it from the legs first, so this thing's just wailing and flailing about. He says, "Well, I suppose I can't win them all, but be warned, once I leave this place, you will find no greater enemy than Orcus, Prince of Demons." And as he says this, he bursts into flames. The room is filled with the smell of burning, rotting flesh and just nasty undeath. And however, the abyssal wretch that he's eating, as he's burning up, he burns up from the feet up, and he's still trying to eat the abyssal wretch, and it squirms free just a little bit and falls to the ground. He's like, "No, my dinner!" And he fades away. This wretch is now just on the floor, legless, screaming.
I walk up and cut its head off.
Nice. Yeah, it just rolls out, the head rolls away, and it dissolves into like a puddle of fucking goo. It's real nasty. Inamingle walks over, looks at Arianth, and he says, "I can't believe you rolled a fucking 29. Umbra's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he's like, "She rolled a fucking 29. Ashnak's
Fourth
like,
wall.
Ashnak looks at him and he's like, "Hey, Dick Book, she knows how to fuck shit up." So, Arianth, you may now remove both the Chief of Staff and the Rod of... all aspects of the Rod of Seven Parts are gone from you now, so you no longer have those abilities.
Yep.
That is a large sacrifice to make. Umbra looks at you.
Aaronith is feeling a whole lot of mixed emotions right now.
Yeah. Well, season finale, you know.
I turn to you and try to console you, and I say, Aaron, your real powers were always inside you. But except for the ones that were in the rods, but yeah, but the rest of
Aaron says thank you and shrugs, and she's like, and just kind of pension, like pouting, says, "I still need a new rod."
We'll get you one.
Reggie this entire time has still not spoken, and he looks up at all of you. He says, I'm sorry. I think I think I should take my brother and go home now.
Reggie, your journey with us doesn't have to end here.
Miss Venadia, I have traveled and quested for almost 300 years. I'm tired. I think I just want to go home.
I understand.
I turn to Reggie and I put my hand on him and I look at him sadly but with love and say, whatever you wish to do, I will make happen.
Maggie,
I hope you can forgive me.
Maggie gives him a gentle look and says, "Where is your home?"
He sort of looks at Maggie, looks at Ariane. He closes his eyes for a moment. And Ariane, you feel a familiar sort of pull at your mind as though someone were trying to communicate with you. And then Reggie opens his eyes again and he looks just slightly sadder and he says, I can't do it anymore. I can't talk to you with my mind.
I'm so sorry, Reggie. I too am very sad that it had to end the way it did.
Umbra says, Reggie, I think I know of a place that you could call home, at least for the time being. She says, I've made a friend there recently. Someone of immense power. And I'm sure she could find your services incredibly useful. Inamingo goes, You don't mean... She says, I very much do. I mean her. And when she says her, all around you, these portals just bamfed into existence instantly. And through these portals,
Oh.
Several Dabus. If you remember, the Dabus are the sort of handmaiden, hand servants of the Lady of Pain. Oops.
I think we killed some of those guys.
I don't think you killed any of the Dabus. They're sort of like the architects of the city of Sigil. And I mean, there's like a lot of them that are coming through this portal. They're just all around you. And stepping through the final portal into the middle, not so much stepping, but floating, is the monstrous...
Tilting?
Yeah, tilting. She zooms through at an angle.
She's like, you down there!
Comes the absolutely astounding presence of the blade-faced, embodied Lady of Pain, the resident doorkeeper of Sigil, and doors, portals all across the universe. Umbra turns to Reggie and she says, I know this is hard for you, but I'm sure that my lady can give you purpose. You see, she is elected for me to take her place. I shall become the new Lady of Pain. And I need people I can trust as my advisors. You have been nothing but the most gracious and intelligent friend to Arianth, as she has been a friend to me. And I would be honored, Reggie, if I could offer you a place of employment amongst my counselors. You'd get to work with any, and Inamingle's like, you know, Reg, it's not that bad. She's a little off her rocker sometimes, but I think this new gig in politics that she's working on is gonna really settle her down. The lady, meanwhile, just ominously stares above you silently. She doesn't say a fucking word. The Dabus just stare. They're not They're not doing anything. They're just surrounding you, staring at the group of you. Ashnak is like pointing his gun at everybody that he can manage to point his gun at the same time. He's basically just spinning in circles. You just give me the word, I'll fuck shit up.
I'm down, Ashnak. We're not at that point right now, but we will be eventually.
So Umbra turns to you and she says, as I understand it, Vecna has broken through the barrier into the Lady's Citadel, the city of Sigil, the city of doors. This is how he is able to force his way through the universe so quickly. She has come to me in her hour of need. I don't know exactly why. Inamingle goes, gangster recognize gangster. Umbra goes, okay. This will mean several things. I will no longer be able to accompany you on your journey forward. I will also... I will be very beholden to the city from now on. It is my home, after all. It is where I grew up. I know it quite well.
We can come see you, of course, can't we?
You are most welcome in the city anytime. The only problem is, well, the city is at war. I don't see that war ending anytime soon.
Do you think it would be best for us to help you on your front, or to focus on taking out his Horcrux? Or because I can't remember the other word at the moment.
I believe that pursuing Vecna's phylactery would be the most wise goal for you at this point. However, I need you to do me a favor. On a faraway planet that I believe we've discussed, a certain person, dragon, whatever he calls himself at this moment, my love, Jazar, is currently, well, he's in trouble. He doesn't know it, though. The lady has informed me that unless someone can stop him from raising an army of Tiamat's creation, leading it into battle, he will die. I would like very much for you to go to Kryn and to convince him to come find me in Sigil and rule by my side.
Zach, Chazar's the red dragon guy, right?
He's like
that Venadia has a crush on?
Yep.
Okay, Venadia's like, yeah, I think we could do that.
Of course, Umbra. I will most certainly help you.
If you can bring him back to me, I will get you to Oerth. Though many of the doors there have closed long ago, there is at least one that I know of that is still open.
Maybe you can help me find a cool staff to replace the one I lost.
Oh, I don't think anything like that will be a problem for you. You do seem to have a way of finding these strange oddities all throughout our universe, don't you?
I smile and say, I've had some good luck so far, I guess.
All of the gods must favor you greatly.
Well, I still got to figure out how to fix the Weave of Magic.
Yes. Yes, and I think that perhaps your trip to Kryn might help with that. You see, long ago, a great cataclysm rocked Kryn. It destroyed a large portion of their planet, and, well, it relegated the powers of magic to their most base form. I think there you may discover the secrets that you need to repair the damage done to the weave. And I think if you can get to Vecna's phylactery on Oerth and destroy it, I'm quite sure the damage he has done can be repaired, although it may take longer than it would had you used the rod. This damage won't be repeatable. He will not be able to come back if you can destroy this phylactery of his. You will be doing not just your world or my world or Krynn or Oerth a great favor, but the entirety of all being everywhere.
That is my only wish at this point, is to destroy it.
I brought to you today the forces of both chaos and law in their evilest form, because I believe deep down Vecna is not evil, or not chaotic, and not lawful, but I believe he truly thinks what he does is the right thing to do.
Zealots are the worst.
Yes. And a zealot with power, well, that's the worst of all, isn't it?
Indeed.
Well, what do you say? How about we go back to the Serenity and we take a quick jaunt around the universe, just jaunt around the universe. Let's go joyride for a moment before we all have to go back to our responsibilities. Why don't we?
If that's what you wish, I'd be more than happy to. I'd like to spend some more time with Reggie before he goes anyway.
Yes, and I think he'd like that as well, wouldn't you, Reggie? Reggie nods his head slowly and says, Captain, it would be a pleasure to go sailing with you one last time.
It would be my honor, Reggie.
Ashnak goes, yeah, time to fuck shit up! And that is literally what I have for you guys tonight. I told you I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know if you guys were going to let's fucking kill these guys or what, so.
For the past couple minutes while you guys were talking, Venadia walks up to those double wooden doors in the back and she's like, does anyone know that this inscription means here? Photo bucket? Photo bucket? Did anyone translate that?
Aaron shrugs. She's like, I don't care. I'm a little depressed right now.
Must be primordial.
Ancient magic, Reggie says. Who the hell would take a picture of a bucket? Yeah. Oh, I hope Dave got the end of that. Oh no. I just saw his battery died. He's switching to his computer. Oops.
Oh no.
Oh no, Dave. Dave, did you hear the last of that?
I just heard Chris suggested to go for a joyride.
Okay.
Yeah, you pretty much got it.
Yeah, you got it then. Pretty much all that happened after that was Ashnak was like, yeah, time to fuck shit up. And then Venadia noted the odd ancient script writing on the back wall that says photo bucket. Well, yeah, so that's what I've got for you guys for the end of season 2, I guess, is what I guess we can call this, because
Sure.
that's like
End of year 2.
yeah, it is. It's literally almost the end of year 2. By the time we start playing again, we'll be going on to year 3. So that's that's pretty goddamn good. We did a 2-year. We basically finished a 2-year campaign, which is not to say these characters are done. We will definitely internet land. Don't stop it, all 14 of you. You're blowing up chat. I swear. I'm just kidding. I'm not streaming this. But yeah.
In the Zach extended universe, we all get our own feature length film now.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it. So we have to split off. We'll do one shots.
We got to do our origin stories and everything. Yeah.
So the idea that I have is for us to now go and, as your new characters, hopefully we can do a little exploring of Krynn, because there is some pretty deep lore there, and I'm up to like chapter 4 in the book, and holy shit, it's incredible. It's literally like reading an action movie almost. It's really well written, and I'm super happy with that.
Nice.
Nice.
Like the Spelljammer campaign was like cool, but it was super low level, so I didn't really use any of the actual campaign shit. I just used like the reference material.
Mhm.
Dragonlance, like I said last time that we got together for a little mini session 0, which I will post eventually, maybe after this episode posts. I don't know, we'll see. Like Dragonlance has a huge storied lore to it, which gets sort of unraveled as you play the campaign. You get to see what happened and where all of this goes, and it's pretty fucking epic from what I can tell. So I'm super excited to run it. And I figured, why do a disservice and try and homebrew the shit out of it and fit it to my campaign that we've already been playing for 2 years? We can just have that be fresh, but that gives you guys as players this insight into the lore of Krynn, and that way when we do eventually return to this campaign, you guys will actually kind of know something about it as players, so you'll understand maybe how certain things go during your trip there, because otherwise it's just going to seem like a bunch of crazy shit happens and it's not going to make a lot of sense. But I think
Mhm.
No doubt.
if you have like an experience as another character, you'll kind of understand the way that the land works, and you know,
Nice.
I'm
So
excited about
we're about to
starting
do like
a
a Rogue One kind of thing, right?
yeah,
Sort of
like a
like-
total offshoot. And I mean, this is like, yeah, it's a weekly D&D with friends ish, or weekly ish D&D with friends story. It's like a whole separate side plot.
Right.
Not to
No,
say
I'm-
that it's
I'm
not
down.
linked into our main campaign, but I'm very excited. Well, like when I ordered it, like I say, I ordered the just to kind of reiterate, I got the deluxe version that comes with the actual board game called Warriors of Krynn. I've tried looking through it. I'm not gonna lie, it looks a little heavy. It looks kind of complex, so the likelihood of running it in Tabletop Simulator, maybe. More likely, what might happen, it is a cooperative game, which is cool. So it is not meant to be like a player versus player type game. It is meant to be like whoever is playing versus the board game, which works out really
Gotcha.
well.
So it's like a party on a quest.
Yeah, it's literally designed to fit in. Like for instance, without spoiling anything, at the end of the first chapter that you play in the campaign, there will be a battle, and the battle can literally be played out in the board game. So that's how they worked it. Like there are specific points in the campaign where battles occur, because again, the story of Dragonlance, with trying not to spoil too much, but it's very war torn. It's a very like military-esque campaign almost, with lots of big battles, like Battle of the Five Armies type stuff going on, and each one of the battles can be represented in the board game, and it becomes like a strategic military type game. And so they give you the points at which to drop these things in. Like I said, the campaign itself seems so well written so far. I am so excited to run this for you guys.
That's really
And
cool. Like you can, like it gives a mechanics to like with all of those conflicts and stuff without having to like role play your way through like a enormous battle
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something like that.
Like you
It's
remember
really
when
cool.
we did way back, we did the Battle of Southmord.
Yeah.
Like that idea is probably much better executed by something like this. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping, because I think it's only every few sessions that you'll really have the chance to like actually play the board game. What I'm hoping is either we can find a day where everybody can actually get together and play the board game in person, and maybe we can just, I don't know, just record it on like a phone or something of us playing, or I can set up a camera. Or if that's not a possibility, what I'm also hoping is that my scanner will work well enough for me to scan every single one of these parts as PNG images, and I will be able to upload everything before we get to that part of the campaign into Tabletop Simulator and make my own mod for Warriors of Krynn, because why the hell wouldn't I want to do that? I'm a total tabletop nerd, so over the next couple of weeks when I've got some downtime, I might break out the old printer scanner and start
Cool.
playing around with some stuff.
No doubt.
Sounds like a fun project.
Yeah, it's probably going to be more than I anticipate, but at least I know that it's going to be more than I anticipate, so maybe it won't be. It's one of those deals where I'm like, if
But
I'm
then if you
really-
anticipate that much,
I
then it'll be
know,
even
I
more
know.
than that. So just, don't go crazy anticipating things.
That's right. I gotta anti-anticipate.
That's right. Just anticipate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just anticipate. Exactly.
Just like proticipate.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also, when I ordered stuff for Dragonlance, I also ordered Fizzbon's Treasury of Dragons. So hopefully, we can find some stuff to plug in there as little extra encounters and things, just for fun. Have a random. Maybe we can do like a dragon hunt throughout the campaign or something. I don't know. If you guys have any ideas of things that you'd like to accomplish in a land filled with dragons, please, by all means, give me suggestions, because even though I want to run the campaign kind of as written, it doesn't mean we can't do like one-off little like afternoon adventure type things, Like it
Okay.
does offer the opportunity for that sort of thing to happen quite a bit. So yeah.
Sweet.
Other than that, happy winter solstice, happy holidays.
You too.
Oh yes, that is today.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably won't. Yeah, it was at 4:51 or something like that. 4:52 today was
It's like my
the-
favorite solstice because now the days get longer.
It's a good one.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so happy holidays. I don't know if I'll talk to any of you guys around Christmas or whatever, because I'm sure everybody's got craziness going on, because that's the holidays.
Mhm.
And if anybody wants to hang out, I do have the Monday after Christmas off and the Monday after New Year's off. I'll just be at the house doing nothing, not making concrete things, and not throwing giant concrete buckets on the ground from a forklift. So
Cool.
that'll be
Are
cool.
we taking a 3-week break here, or
Yeah, I would assume probably not. Like, obviously, Sunday is Christmas and Sunday is New Year's. So we will say not those two. Although, again, feel free to drop me a line if you guys want to hang out or something. I'm just going to be hanging out with my kid on Christmas and New Year's. I don't have her, even though it's her birthday, so that's dumb. But I'll have her the next day. And yeah.
I was gonna say New Year's Day? I'll probably be fine. It's not like it's New Year's Eve.
New Year's Day, I have I may be around, but I have a 1-year-old birthday party to go to, so I'm not 100% sure if I'll be around
Yeah,
or
and
not.
that's the other thing too, is I can't make any solid plans because, like I said, it's my daughter's birthday. So I'm kind of like, maybe I don't have her that day for like a full day or anything. But I might steal her for like an hour or two. So I don't want to guarantee. But yeah, if we can kind of play that one by ear, and I would be more than happy if you want to run stuff on New Year's Day. I can run what's called the preludes. There are 3 separate preludes that kind of give like they're meant to be like a built-in session 0 for the campaign, where it gives you guys like the option of exploring your backgrounds a little bit, the option of sort of figuring out how your party meets, and I can kind of help with that. And because it's like, as much as cool as it is to be like, yeah, we all know each other, it's also cool to like have your characters meet each other, because then you get to learn how you each play the
No doubt.
character.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have all that to feed off of, like when you're
Yeah,
actually
yep.
role playing it and stuff. It'll
Yeah,
feel natural.
The more
Yeah.
background that each of you can get, the better it is.
Mhm.
The other thing that's really cool is, with your background, some of the backgrounds in the new stuff include a feat that you gain from having that background. And like in the new 1 D&D stuff that's coming out, and the other optional house rule for this is that your background, you can pick a feat that relates in some way to your background, kind of at your and my discretion, and say, this is the feat that I gain from my background. So that way every level 1 player, even though they're not that strong, has a cool thing they can do. They have a
Nice.
superpower.
That's cool. I
essentially.
like that. Yeah.
It makes it a little bit more interesting, because the first few levels
Yeah.
of D&D have always been a bit of a slog.
Yeah,
And
it's not like you just broke free from the prison cart in Skyrim or something like that.
Yeah,
you got a tunic and a tooth and a freaking whatever.
You got a wooden dagger and some
A
sandals.
lockpick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that exploring those, or even if you guys want to get together on New Year's, even if we don't play, we can kind of all match up characters and stuff, figure out which characters we're going to play. Jen, if you need any help with character stuff, I can definitely help. I did add the Dragonlance stuff I don't have fit spawns on D&D Beyond, so I can't really add that in, but I don't think there's any
I
character
just
options.
started working on my character. I've gotten as far as race and class, and I was just starting to get into all the other aspects.
Yeah.
I should be all right at this point.
So I would advise you to build a backup character,
Yeah.
because, again, I don't know how deadly this campaign is going to be. I
actually do have a backup character. I have an elf bard, or a half elf bard that I built that I
Okay.
never used that I can use as a backup.
I think my backup is a bard too.
Oh my god. Oh my god, please tell me that all of your backups are bards. I will TPK the shit out of you guys.
We'll all die and then we all come
Yeah,
back as bards.
Game 1, you're all dead. Okay, next fucking party. Oh, all bards? Cool. Who knew? Yeah, you guys shouldn't give me information like that, because it'll turn out real different.
Especially not at level 1, because you'll have no remorse.
Yeah, remorselessly. I've been waiting 2 years for a character death and dreading anybody actually dying in this game, and now I have nothing to fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, the reins are off.
All right, maybe I'll have 3 characters ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, my backup was Tabaxi Rogue, which I already added to the campaign too. But
So he's a rogue, but he thinks he can sing really well, right? But it just sounds like a tomcat yowling.
yeah,
You guys
He's a
start
kitty
playing
cat.
this awesome like Led Zeppelin tune, and then in the
Yeah.
beginning you just hear meow.
what's new, pussycat?
He sings Tom Jones exclusively.
Sorry,
Awesome.
Internet.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sorry at all, Internet.
Yeah.
That's what you
You
guys
fucking
get for
deserve
watching
it.
this shit. I hope you're happy. See what you've made us do. So yeah, that's another one too. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell anybody that potentially would ever watch a D&D thing. Share the link with them. That way, maybe one day D&D Beyond will sponsor us. I probably should just ask. They seem to sponsor literally everyone that asks. I don't even know what a
Hey.
sponsorship would be. Do they just give you a free membership? Maybe give me a month off. I don't care. I would think
Worth a
that
shot?
yeah, I would think that after dropping like, $500 on D&D Beyond and D&D books and shit over the last 2 years, that they would be like, yeah, you're good. We can give you something.
What they should do is probably just whenever they drop a new book, they should just pass it your way if you're going to run the campaign while they're promoting it, and then people can be like, "Oh, that's a cool campaign,"
That
and
would
then
be
they want to
friggin'
buy the
amazing.
book.
Yeah.
That really, even you know what? Even if I still have to pay for it, if they can just get it to me really early, really early. Yeah. I don't know. Any other thoughts? Any thoughts on what the campaign's been like? Have you
Oh,
guys
cool.
been happy with the
Been
homebrew
great.
stuff? Has it been
Oh yeah,
fun? I
Uh,
hope.
It's been very fun.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Awesome. Good.
I'm looking forward to playing on the new campaign just because I have a much better grasp on how everything works than I did when we first started.
Oh
Same.
yeah, absolutely. Like at this point, you guys are all coming in as like journeyman D&D players. I mean, Nick, you've been playing for a really long time. Like we used to play back in fucking elementary and high school, I think. But for everybody else that's just started playing, because I think the other 3 of you only started playing a couple years ago, right?
Well, I had played a little bit in college, but not a lot.
So you had like some experience with it, but hadn't done like a full blown campaign where you met
Yeah,
every week or
exactly.
whatever.
Sure.
Pl-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
this is definitely my first campaign.
Yeah, for me, this is the longest that a D&D game has ever run by like literally a year and 3/4 probably.
It's
I
a
think.
crazy way to take up a hobby, that's for sure. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'll get my feet wet. I'll play some D&D with these guys for 2 years. By the way, guys, I decided it's after this game. It's not really for me, but I appreciate the time.
You know what? I decided I don't like this anymore.
I mean, we had to finish the game for me to really feel it out. But
Yeah, I've been giving it 2 years, but I don't know.
Listen, I promise it really picks up after the next 3 years. It's
yeah,
when you're 5 years into it, that's when it gets good. Oh, also, on a sad note for me, mostly because I think I'm the only like huge Acquisitions Incorporated fan. At PAX Unplugged this past year, the final game of Acquisitions Incorporated's campaign has been played after 11 and a half years. This game went on
wow.
11
Holy
and a half
crap.
years, and I've been watching it literally since it was a fucking like shitty late night TV show that was hosted in some guy's basement. And I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Penny Arcade, the comic.
Mhm.
So those are
a little bit.
those are the guys that do PAX, the gaming convention, and
Mhm.
PAX, our Acquisitions Incorporated is Penny Arcade's, like, it's their D&D game that they play like in their work, like every week. It used to be every week, and then they started doing these live shows every time they would have a PAX event, about 5 or 6 times a year. They would play a live D&D game in front of a huge crowd, and it's become like almost a phenomenon. And
Mhm.
I gotta
Yeah,
say,
I think I watched 1 or 2 of those.
I like the
We did some dealings with those characters.
Yeah,
in
you
our
guys,
campaign.
I mean, they literally released their own campaign book after a while through Wizards of the Coast that we brought into our campaign. You guys met Jim Dark Magic and Omen Dran, and they are by far, like, they have been my favorite characters that I've ever seen in a D&D game or read about or anything. And it's really sad that they're done, but they are starting a brand new campaign in like
Nice.
February or March of this year, I want to say. And so it's bittersweet, but I'm super excited.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to watch any sort of D&D stuff, that's my advice. Internet land, you too, you better go fucking watch it, or else I'll do nothing, because I'm just a dungeon master sitting in my sweatpants at my house. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's it, guys.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Pretty
All
dope.
right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I've had this idea for a character for a while, and I'm glad I've got a plan to
Oh,
play this.
that was the other thing. Bill, who played Guilfoyle early in our campaign, he was saying he wanted to get in on the Dragonlance.
Yeah, I was
campaign,
going to
so-
ask about that. That would be cool
So
if
we
he
will
came
have a
back and
fifth-
played. He
we'll
was
have a
that was,
fifth
he was fun to
character.
play with.
Yeah,
If only we could get Bob back too.
I know Bill is a phenomenal role player. Like he does stuff. He is very much in my camp of, oh well, that's what my character would do. And I
Yeah.
know in his campaign that annoyed the shit out of his other players when I did that. Like, but I can't help it. It's a compulsion. Like if I have a player character, I'm like, that's what the character would do, and I think it's a byproduct of DMing.
Yeah.
Like-
I loved it. I always thought it was a great element in our game. I just he like kept to character with it the whole time. You never
Yeah, it's almost like method
this,
acting.
he never did what like Bill would have done, because Bill's trying to help us out. He did what Guilfoyle would
Yep.
have done.
Absolutely. Here's an
I'm all
orange.
for it.
And it's the same way with Bob too. I should try and get a hold of Bob and say, hey, you should play D&D again.
Oh, it would be awesome if
I
we
don't
could
know
get
how
Bob
much
to
stuff
play.
he's got going on in his life, but
Mm.
even if it's just popping in for maybe playing the board game or something, or whatever it is, maybe I can convince him to guest spot as some NPCs. That would be fun.
That'd be cool.
I like that. If he can't do it,
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you can't
that
commit
takes
to
a
it, at
permanent
least come
spot.
in.
That takes a lot of the weight off from my shoulders if I can get him to play like a major NPC during one session or something, because then I don't have to do that bit of acting, and I can literally send him all the material and say, here's what the character knows.
that'd be really great to just
Yeah, that'd
start
be awesome.
introducing it to the show in general. Is like you could like get people in. You
I
know?
can totally do that too.
I'll bet, like,
Yeah, talk to
Chris Biddle would be into
Vanderveer,
it and
too,
shit.
'cause
You know.
yeah, because
Yeah.
Jim Vanderveer had always talked about wanting to play, but not being able to.
to
you know.
commit to every
Sick-
week or
yeah.
something. Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Bill was trying to get me to play a BBG in his one of his campaigns, just like come at the end and just play the character and then try to kill his
Cool.
characters.
nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen people do
That'd be
stuff like
fun.
that before. There's another D&D streamer called Brendan Lee Mulligan. I think he's from
Yeah.
College Humor, and he actually during his Ravenloft campaign had Matt Mercer from Critical Role come in and play Strahd.
Cool.
Nice.
I think he had another actress play the whatever the girl's name is in Strahd there. The one that we let die horribly in Bill's game, Nick. I don't remember her name at all. She was,
You mean
she
your
was
sister in
my
that game?
sister. My sister in that game, and I cannot remember her goddamn name. Because I intentionally didn't read the Ravenloft book when Bill said we're going to play Ravenloft. I went, oh, cool. I guess I won't read that campaign right now.
Bill's like, no, we knew there was gonna be there was like a parade in town, and we knew like some bad shit was gonna happen there. And he's like sends his sister there, and like a couple of us are just like, he's like, are you sure you want to send your sister there, man? Like, he's,
Yeah, she'll be fine. She's with this guy who is clearly Strahd. And I knew that, but my character would not have known that. He was dumb. He was dumb
Yeah.
as shit.
you had to be real dumb for that.
I had
yeah.
like an intelligence of like 5 or something. Or no, it was, he had like intelligence of like 10 and the wisdom of like, his wisdom was wicked low, but I was like, I want to play a paladin anyways, because paladins have a charisma as their main stat. And so I was like, well, wisdom, who needs wisdom? Yeah. That was a great
Yeah.
character. I
Anyways,
had fun
she
with her.
died at that parade.
Yeah, she totally died. Strahd was fucking pissed too. He was so mad. What was it, Quizzard? He punched in the face, the gnome?
We ended up losing that campaign. Like,
Yeah, I don't see how you couldn't have. They're like, Ravenloft sucks. It just kills everything.
That's how the campaign ended. We tried to fight Strahd at the end, and then Strahd brainwashed Quizzard, and then Quizzard created a force wall around him and Strahd just healed all the way back up, and then we all died.
Yeah, I will say.
I want to lose the campaign.
Yeah, as a DM, Bill does not pull punches. Bill's like, all right, well, here's what's going to happen. You take
It says here you died.
97 damage. I will
Right.
never, ever be able to lose the image of Strahd doing a full split and punching a gnome in the face. This is the funniest fucking image that I've ever gotten. There's a vampire lord, does a full split, Jean-Claude Van Damme style, and punched the gnome in the face. So yeah, very excited about the new campaign. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, I guess that's it. Happy holidays, guys, because it's
Merry
almost
Christmas,
9 and I got to get up and go to bed and get up for work in the morning.
Yes. Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah.
Yep. Happy holidays to you guys.
Nowadays, y'all.
Yeah. Good
Peace.
night, everyone.
Next time.
All right. Y'all soon.
And happy holidays to you too, Internet Land. Come watch Dragonlance when we come out with it.